Okay, so we're still on reducing balance loans 3 from the textbook, which is exercise 7.4. So we're going to go through the work example here. So work example 13. So I'm going to look at A first. What is the total interest paid? The total interest, so TI equals how much you've repaid minus your principal, which remember is V0. All right. So repayment here is 5 years times 12. So that's 60 repayments times 364.98. So that will give you 3,898 and 80 cents. Okay. So in this case, that's the total interest paid when I've got a reduced balance loan of 18%, 18,000 over 5 years at 8% per annum with monthly repayments of $364.98. So that's how I calculate A. So B, what we're going to do here, everything is staying the same except we're changing the interest rate. And by changing the interest rate, that's going to mean is it's going to change the time that you're going to have to repay this loan. Okay, so N is what we're after. So we're going to question mark that. This is now 9%. This is 18,000. Payments are 364.98. Okay, and my final value is 0 because that's what it's gonna be paid off, and this is going to be 12. All right. So what that means is I put that in the calculator. Oh, amazingly, I've already done that already, and I'm going to press enter, and I see that I get 61.81. So I get 61. Oops, because clearly I can't write 61 properly. 61.81. So what it means is it's going to take, so this is going to be B, and so the first part of that means this is 61.81, which means 62 months. And because it's 12 months, because it's monthly, that means it's going to be 5 years, 5 years and 2 months. Okay. Right, next bit is, oh, sorry about that. Okay, so we've worked out the term of the loan. It's going to be 62 months long. But remember from previous questions, what this 61.81 means is it's 61 full repayments and a partial repayment for the 0.81. So we need to know how much extra we're going to have to pay at the end of loan. So we need to put in here, what we do is we put in our payment, negative 364.98. This becomes 61 because we know 61 for repayments. That's 9. That's 18,000. That's 12. And if I put that into the calculator, and I'm going to go to final value, I'm going to go enter. We see that there's 293 and 88. So 293 and 88. So that means the final repayment. So the final repayment is 293 and 88 cents. Okay, but we still haven't finished here because remember this has still got some interest owing on it. So the interest for this one is that it was 9% over 12 months. So my interest, so my rate is going to be 9 divided by 12 is 0.75%. Okay. And so I'm going to work out what 0.75% of 293.88 is, and that will give me $2.20. So that's not the final part of the question because it says the total amount of interest paid. So what we're going to have here is, again, we've got total interest equals repayment minus principal. But that repayment now is 61 times 364.98 plus 293.88 plus 220. Okay, so that's my repayment part. So let's just sort of highlight that for a sec. That's my repayment part. Okay, subtract the principal. What was the principal? The principal was, that's right, 18,000. That will give you $4,586. So the total interest you've paid now by upping the interest rate by 1% is $4,559.86 compared to the other one was $389,880. So in this case, I'm paying essentially an extra $600-700 because that 1% interest rate rise. Okay. Okay, so let's look at worked example 14. We see that these people have taken a home loan out for home renovations. The loan's $42,000, was due to run for 10 years and attract interest of 7% per annum debited quarterly. Repayments of each quarter being nearly $1,500. After 4 years, the rate changed though. It went from 7 to 8%. Still debited quarterly. The repayment value didn't change. So first off here, what you need to do is find the amount outstanding when the rate changed. What that means is we went for 4 years at that particular rate. So we're going to have 4 years, 4 times 4. My interest rate is 7. My V0 is 42,000. My repayments are minus 146,368 and 83. But this is where I'm after the final value. I want to know what it is, that thing. That's going to be a negative number, and that's going to be 4 here. So if we go to the calculator and we put in 16, because that's what 4 times 4 is, we've got 7% there. This is going to be 42. 42,000. My payments are going to be negative. Oh, this is annoying me. Negative 14686.83. I'm after my final value, so I'll come back to that in a moment. This is what I want to be 4. So I go back here and I press enter, and I find that after 4 years, I still owe 28,584. So that now becomes 28,584 and 37 cents. Was it 37? 36. 36 cents. Okay. That's how much is outstanding when the rate changed. So now we've got to find the actual term of the loan. Okay, so now what we want to do is find the actual term of the loan. So what we need to do is we pay off the rest of it, where now my PV is 28584 and 36 cents. My FV is 0. My PPY is still 4. My payments are still 1468.83. But after N, so after the repayments, this is now 8%. All right. So now we go to the calculator, and I've put all those numbers in, and I press enter. And what I find here is that there is going to be 25 repayments. So that's, what was it, 24.8. So that's basically 24.90. 24.90. So basically 25 repayments. Okay, so that means, and that's because that's a quarter, that means 6 1/4 years. So the question for B is find the actual term of the loan. Actual term equals 4 plus 6 1/4. So 10 1/4 years. Okay. Okay, so on to C. So what I've decided to do is just put the working out there so we can work through it rather than me writing everything, because that's just going to take too long. Okay, so the part 3 is compare the total interest paid to what it would have been if the rate had remained at 7% per annum for 10 years. Let's actually skip to the 7% per annum part first, because that's this bit here. Okay, and what we find is that when we're at 7%, we had it 46883 times 40 because it was 10 years, 40 things, at 40 repayments, and you subtract the 42,000 from that, and you're going to get 16,753 and 20 cents. Okay, so we've sort of done that part. What you're doing in the in the next bit is, remember up here it was 24.90, well, it was effectively 90. That meant we had some left over. So what we've done there is we've gone back up here, just put in 24, gone to final value, gone enter, and we find that we get we still owe $12.91 and 60 cents, which is what we've got here. Okay, so the amount still owed after the 24th repayment is $12.91 and 61. All right, and we're going to get interest on the final payment. Well, the 2% comes about because it's 8% divided by 4. That gives us our 2% for a quarter. That's where the 2% comes from. Oops, a quarter. All right, so our final repayment is at $12.91 and 61 cents plus the 25.83, which gives us a final repayment of $13.17 and 44. So what we're doing is we're going to go 1468.83 times 40, because it was still, that part was still 10 years. That last repayment is going to be 13.17. So we add those two together, subtract 42, and I get this number here. We look at interest difference. We're looking at that is that one, and this one is this one here. So we get an interest difference of 1,317. So because of this change after 4 years, you're going to have to pay an extra $1,317 and $1,317.44 interest, because I've gone, after 4 years, I've gone from 7% to 8%. So moving on to worked example 15, that's where we're looking at interest-only loans. So what I just did quickly there was just did a quick snip of the reason and the thinking behind interest-only loans. The key point here is it's only the minimum repayment equal to the interest charge on the loan. That's all you're paying. So what's happening is your interest, your initial principal, and the amount owing is the same for the period of the loan. So conceivably, you could use simple interest formula or CAS, so using the finance solver. But if we're just going to use this finance solver for now, that means my present value and my future value are the same value. But now the future value is negative because that's money owed to the bank. So you've borrowed a certain amount that comes into your bank, but you still owe that same amount, so it becomes a negative value. Okay, and so this type is loaned by generally two people: investors in shares and or property. So really investors, or families that are experiencing financial difficulties and they only just want to make enough payments to, to survive before they can start paying it off later on. Okay, so it's not ideal to be in that position though. All right, so what you're going to do here is, if you look at it, she's invested 40,000, so her PV is 40,000. Means her FV is minus 40,000. Okay, it's monthly, so these are 12. She uses. Okay, so we've got our interest rate at 6.9. Okay, number of payments 1 because it's what the monthly repayment is. So it's only 1 repayment. I mean, you're going to have lots more, but you're basing it on 1, and therefore I'm after the what their payment value would be. If I put that into the calculator, which you can see I've already done, I go enter. I get minus 230. So my repayment, monthly repayment is $230. And of course, if you want to use a simple interest formula, I just wasn't going to write it out again. You're just going to identify what V0 are. Your interest rate N is 1 month because it's 1/12 of a year. So you're going to put 1 over 12 for your time. Interest rate is 6.9, divide by 100. And guess what? You get 230. Okay. So that calculates it you can do it either way. Pick whichever way suits you best. So that was for question 1. So for question 2, in 3 years she sells the shares for 50 grand. Calculate the profit she would make on this using this investment strategy. Well, she's going to be doing $230. So how many repayments? 3 years times 12. So repayment, it's going to be 3 years times 12, and repayment amount times that by 230. That will give me 36 times 230 gives me 8,280 equals 8280. Okay, so my total amount, so how much the profit is 50,000 minus 40,000 plus 8280. Okay, and that will give me, that will be $1,720. So what you got to remember in this sort of, that should be 50,000 by the way. What you got to remember, there's the capital gain that she's earned in this particular thing. It was 50,000 minus 40,000 because she bought it for 40. She got the loan for 40. So she bought $40,000 worth of shares. She sold for 50, so she got 10 grand capital gain, but she also spent 8,280, and that's what gives us our final result, 1720. So she made a profit. This is what profit she made. Okay. All right. Thank you.